Okay, for this assignment, section 5.1, we're going to do just circumferences of circles. So it shouldn't be too hard, but it is something that we need to address because there's different questions that come up concerning circumference, and hopefully we'll get to area and other things, but we'll see. But anyway, circumference of a circle is just the distance around the outside of a circle. It's like a fence around a circle or something, or you're walking around the circle. Has nothing to do with the inside. It's just walking around the outside of the circle. So I forgot to pull this up, so we'll pull this up. But so this first question says, if the radius of this circle is 23 units, calculate the circumference. So the key here, it has all these different triangles and stuff in there, but you really don't need to know all that other information. The important part here is that the radius is 23 units. So the formula for a circumference for a circle is pi times the diameter, or 2 times pi times r, because 2r is the diameter. So you can say it either way. So if for this particular one, if we know that the radius is 23 units, we take 2 times pi times 23 in order to figure this out. And 2 times 23 is 46. So this particular problem right here would be 46 pi units. Sometimes it leaves it in pi, sometimes they have you multiply it out. But this particular one would be 46 pi units. Okay, so Maddie wants to play ring or marbles at her party. According to this, she needs to create a circular game ring with a diameter of 10 feet. So she has to construct multiple rings because she's having a tournament. So first, if you figure out what the circumference of one of them is, then you can figure out how much twine she'll have. She has total 309 feet. So we need to know what one is, and then divide the total by that one in order to get the number that she'll be able to create. So that formula for the diameter is 10 feet, so it's pi times the diameter, which is 10 feet. So if you multiply that out, because we want to, instead of leaving it in pi, we're going to just use 3.14 as pi times 10, and that equals 31.4 feet. So each ring will use 31.4 feet because we figured out the diameter. Now what you do is you take the total, 309, and you divide that by one of them. So 309 divided by 31.4 equals 9.84. Now here's the key. You can get 9 of them. You could get 9 circles, and then you have 0.84 left, but that won't get you a full 10. So what you need to mark is that she can create 9. She can't create 10 because that 0.84 won't get you another full circle. So you just kind of truncate what's left, and whatever you have right here is the number that you would have left. Okay, next problem. Calculate the circumference if the radius is 27. So again, if they give you the radius, it's 2 pi r. So 2 times pi times 27. So just calculate that out. 2 times, for this particular one, it doesn't leave it in, the answers don't leave it in pi. So 2 times pi times 27 is equal to 169.65. So you look right here, there's 169.65, and you've got it. Question 4. This represents a circular window. If AB, or this right here, measures 20 inches, calculate the circumference. Well, if AB is 20, that's the diameter. Pi times the diameter is your calculation. So the whole thing is 20, so it's just 20 times pi. It does not leave it in pi form here, so you go 20 times pi on your calculator, and it equals 62.83. So right here. Okay. Question 5. If an arc with a measure of 30 degrees has a length of 23 pi, what's the circumference of the circle? Okay, so here's, you're going to set up a proportion like we've done in the past. So if it's based, let me get, oh, I do have the pen. So you've got an arc, something like this, that's 30 degrees. Okay, so that's what that's asking. So it has a length of 23, oops, I didn't put the 3 in there. Let me rewrite that. 23 pi is this arc. Just from here to here, it's 23 pi. Okay, so if you set that up in a proportion like 30 is to the whole circle, and the whole circle is 360 degrees, as 23 pi is the length of the arc is to the whole length, the whole perimeter. So you go, this portion is to the whole as the length of this portion is to the whole. So you just kind of have to set them up in that order. So multiply, whenever you do this again, you multiply the diagonals, divide by the other number. So 360 times 23 times by pi, and divide that by 30. And it gives 867.08. So it's just right there. So proportion. The small part to the whole is equal to the small part to the whole. Okay, next one. In this circle Q, MQ is 14, right here. And it says that the measure of NQP is 59. So right here is 59. It wants to calculate the length of this arc right here. It wants to calculate that arc. So we'll set it up in a proportion again. So we've got this, the small part, 59, to, well, if you go by degrees, the 59 to the entire circle of degrees. So I went degrees to degrees, 59 to 360, so it's the small part to the whole, is equal to, let's do the small part. And because it gave you a radius, we can figure out what the circumference of the entire circle is. So the circumference of the entire circle, the radius is 14, so it's 2 times the radius times pi. 2 times the radius is 28 pi. That's how you calculate that. So you take 59 times it by 28 times by pi, and divide that by 360. 14.41. All right, I should have looked ahead to see what the answers are written in, because it keeps it in this. Now you can take this, divide it by pi, and give you the answer, the 14.41, or you could just gone 59 times 28, divide by 360, and just leaving pi in there. So whatever you want to do on that one. But if you divide what I just got by pi, let me do that. 59 times 28 divide by 360 gives me 4.59 pi. So it's right here. And that's when I just left the pi off to the side. So look at your answers first to just see if they want you to leave it in pi or in a decimal. So if you leave it in pi, you just 59 times 28 divide by 360 and then just write pi next to it. So it's not difficult. You just need to look ahead at your answers first. So 4.58 or 59, excuse me, is what I have right here. It's 59 when you round. Okay. Question 7. If the radius is 19 So r equals 19. Calculate the circumference. And we have all these things written out, and none of it matters. All you have to do is just take 2 times this and multiply it by pi. And the answer's in pi form. So 19 times 2 is 38. So the answer is 38 pi for the answer here. To just do the circumference. So just ignore all this extra stuff here. If the length of an arc is 7 pi, now let's just start labeling. So this arc right here is 7 pi, and RS is 10. Calculate the TRS. We want to know what this angle right here is. So let's call it X. So we set it in a proportion again. X divided by 360, which is the whole. So you take the small portion, divide by the whole circle, is equal to this small portion, divide by the whole circumference. The whole circumference is, this is a radius, so you double that, make it 20, and pi, because it's 2 times the radius times pi. So that's how I got 20 pi for the entire perimeter. So I went the portion of the small, divide by the whole circle, the portion of this little section, divide by the whole circle. So pi's cancel out, 360 times 7, and divide that by 20, and you get 126. So right there. Okay, 2 more problems. Okay, so we've got the original Ferris wheel. Okay, so problems, and it's a lot of words and all that, but you're going to get 36. You're going to just look at the big things that you need. This is just told where it was built first, and then there's 36 fully enclosed gondolas. It doesn't matter how many passengers, because we're going to have this big gondola with 36 around the whole thing. So it talks about this, and it just says the circumference had to be large enough to allow for an arc length of 21.31 feet between each gondola. So if you have this big circle and you have an arc length for each of the 36 that go around here, you have to have 21.31 feet between each one, so that you could put your gondola that hung on that Ferris wheel and you could go around. But 21.31 is what has to be there. Okay, so it's asking what's the diameter of the original. So let's just start. I haven't solved this one, but we're going to just put it into an equation to see. So if the arc here is 21.31, we do not know what, that's the portion of the small, to the whole, which it says what's the diameter. So the diameter, let's see, it would be X. We'll call the diameter pi, because the diameter times pi is going to be the whole. We're trying to figure that out. And so, but what we need to know is what, so first we set, let's see, okay, so the arc, which is that portion of circumference, divide by the whole, okay? Just one second, I'm trying to write something down right here. Okay, so if we are trying to figure out what the this other proportion is, we've got to get what this angle is here. Okay, and if you have 36 portions, 36 gondolas that come around, and the total's 360 of a circle, the degrees, then you take 360, divide by your 36, and you have 10, divide by the total, which is 360 degrees. Because if each gondola will have like 10 degrees, because I have to fit 36 of them around this entire thing. So it's got to be huge with a small angle kind of going to each one, or else you can't fit 36 gondolas around the entire thing. So you want to figure out your X. So first take 21.31, divide by pi before you multiply because I want my x alone. And pi is just a number. So 21.31 divide by pi before you do anything else gets you 6.78. That's rounded. So 6.78 on top, then you multiply that by 360 and then divide it by 10, gives you what the diameter would have to be. And the diameter right here is 244, let's see, what did I get? 244.19 feet. So anyway, that's what the diameter would be. And it would make sense because it would have to be very large to be able to fit all those on. So 244.19 is the entire length from here all the way through. Half of that, 122-ish, would be the radius. So anyway, that's how you solve that problem. So 244.19. Oops, I don't know how we get rid of that. Will it go away? Oh well, we'll just have to. Why that popped up. Oh, there we go. Okay, so on question 10, the original Ferris wheel design, again, it's the same one. There's 36, carried 40 passengers and such. Okay, so this one, the circumference had to be large enough to allow for a large plane. What's the circumference of the original Ferris wheel? So the arc, oops, let me get the pen again, is 20.86 feet. So that's the arc. Divide by the circumference of the hole, which would be pi times diameter again. So the diameter is what we're trying to fix, and you want to call it d instead of x. That's fine because we'll know what that we're solving for what we want. Whatever you want to call it is fine. So d times pi, that equals, again, there's 10 degrees out of the whole 360 in order to get all 36 in there. So 20.86 divide by pi gets you 6.64. Multiply that by 360 and divide by 10. And it gives you 233.04 if you're going to do that. So that would be the diameter for this one. So anyway, that's how you solve these. If you have any questions, please reach out to me.